Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to JayGreenSports. This is our first ever episode. This is season 1, episode 1. Don't mind the lighting right now in the background. You see, I got Shaq back there, but everything's going to slowly evolve as the season goes on. Before we get into things, make sure that you do leave a like and subscribe. The goal that I really have for this channel is I want to be able to stream more on Twitch and be able to do rebuilds and stuff on here and be able to do long form videos and IRL basketball content like reaction videos. I think that's more like fun stuff, and I also want to be able to talk about like more like real life stuff because I think that's also something I like to talk about a lot. But today we're here ranking our NBA teams going into the season. We are about 2 months away, and I'm really excited to be honest. But of course, this is the main thing. We're gonna be ranking the teams, but we're also gonna be talking about a lot of other things throughout. But make sure y'all stick around to the end, and make sure you do leave a like and subscribe again, of course, because we're just getting started here. But at number 30, no one should really be surprised here, but we're going to be having the Brooklyn Nets at number 30. And the reason I have them so like low, of course, is because they only have Cam Thomas and Nicholas Claxton. You don't really have much with this roster, and there's a lot of things that I feel like they're going to be able to do good. And of course, they don't have a real good reason to win. Like when you look at this roster and you look at what they have going on, if they tried to go all in, I mean, I don't really see much that they'll be able to do really like anything at all. And that's something where I find it very, it's a positive thing though, because you have a good star, you got a good defensive player. Now, with the season going on, hopefully that they can get a little bit better going into next year. Hopefully they get a good pick for their sake. Because honestly, Brooklyn, it's been rough. They had KD, they had James Harden, they had Kyrie, and now they're stuck with Ben Simmons. And, the team isn't really fun for me. And it's just kind of like, damn. Like I really don't know what to say about it because they're just going to be really bad. So will these next 5 teams, but let's go and get into it. At number 29, we got the Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards they just stink. Like they have Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, and if Kyle Kuzma is basically your best player, I don't know exactly what you're going to be getting this year. I have a couple of notes here, and honestly, it's like long as you can just try to develop some players, some of your young players, that's all you could really ask for here because besides that, I don't think there will be many things that this team will be able to do. If you catch my drift because I mean, they got Alex Sarr who I have high hopes for. Now, he didn't look great going into the summer league, and there was a couple things that were a little shaky. Johnny Davis, and they got Tristan. I have a lot of his rookie cards. I don't think he's really that good, but I'm hoping that they can just develop this young talent because I don't like seeing teams be this bad. Because in the West, we're going to get there in a little bit, but they're really just stacked from 1 through 15 almost, and any team is really going to be popping out this year. But in the East, the bottom of the East is the bottom of the East. Like it's really, really, really bad. Which takes us to our next team at 28. We got the Detroit Pistons. Now this team I think will be a lot better because last year, they were awful. They had the 27 game losing streak, which was literally the worst of all time. They only had 14 wins. But, they were able to add a lot of pieces. Now, I'm not saying these were like big superstars. They didn't add a top 10, even I don't think top 20 player. But with Cade Cunningham going into next season, and then, of course, you got Malik Beasley, you got Sarah Thompson. I was about to say the other one. And then you got Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. There's some young pieces, and you added some vets. You added Paul Reed. I think being able to try to build something here, new coach, someone who actually really does care. That's something that I think is going to be very important. JB Bickerstaff, a really good coach, to be honest. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but, long as y'all don't go on these, like, if y'all go on a 30-game win streak, I don't know what to tell you because you got low as you could get last year with 14 wins. So I'm expecting maybe 19, maybe 20 wins. If you could be like the 12th, maybe the 11th seed, you should feel very happy about what you did. Now, I don't know what you'll be able to do in the future, but this year is just a building year. Hopefully, Cade can get to an all-star level. Jaden Ivey, too. Sorry I didn't mention him earlier. That's a little disrespectful of me. But, these guys are just young, and they're trying to emerge into stars. And Tobias Harris, good regular season guy. We don't expect him to make the playoffs, so he should be able to just, add a little bit. A couple points here, a couple points there. As long as this team can start racking up a few wins here and there, and just some bright spots. They had a lot of low moments last year, and we want the wings. I mean, that's really what we're going for. Let's get some home wins. Let's get the team going. Let's get the environment going, and everything will just be smooth sailing from there. Now, next up, this is a team that I really don't know if this is a fair spot to put them, but at 27, I got the Charlotte Hornets. I've had a lot of people come up and talk to me about, well, not come up to me, but on social media talk about how, I'm being very disrespectful for having them like this low. Like, I think on my tier list video, I had them at a D, but this team relies on two people. And one of these guys are absolutely not healthy at all. And, you got Miles Bridges, who I think is a really nice guy, like a really good player. But, he's got the issues off the court. And then you got LaMelo Ball. Like, LaMelo Ball is a baller. Like, he's going to be great. He is great when he's on the court, though. Last year he only played 22 games, and he's never really been healthy so far. Now, do I expect this to change? I don't know. I don't know, but you got a young star in Brandon Miller, and I like Mark Williams too. But besides that, like this team, I mean, you got some vets. I like the signing. I like having Seth Curry on the team, but the team just isn't going to be able to make a push. And once you're in the East at the bottom is just really, really, really weak, and then you're not going to be able to break through that 10. Like, I think you'll be a 12 to 13 seed. It should be fun though. Like, this should be a fun season for y'all. But if y'all are completely healthy, you could maybe if you make a couple moves too during the deadline, you might be able to make it to the play-in at the 10th seed. But if y'all did that, that would be an amazing season for y'all. An amazing season. But y'all are building on something for sure. And a bad pick, like a bad season, you get a good pick. Next year's draft is supposed to be some real hot shit, like some good stuff. So I'm thinking we could definitely make that something good for us. I live in Charlotte. I live near Charlotte. I love to go to some Hornets games when they're good because, that would be fun to be able to actually go watch a competitive game. The Hornets haven't been able to do anything basically since I've lived here, and I've always wanted to go to a playoff game, and they're the closest place. But moving on to number 26, our first Western Conference team, we got the Trailblazers. And this isn't because I think the Trailblazers are going to be really ass. I don't think they'll be super bad, but when you look at the West, I mean, the teams in front of them, they finished last place last year. You got the Spurs, the Grizzlies, the Jazz, the Rockets, the Warriors, the Kings, and then all the way up, of course, with the Lakers, Pelicans, Suns, Mavs, Clippers. They're not going to be better than any of those teams. Now, I think their wins could definitely go up. I mean, their roster is looking like they got a really young, like, good-looking roster, You got Simons, you got Henderson, you got Ayton. Ayton, I hope he can do better. He did pretty good last year, honestly, having a little bit of a bounce-back year. But then you got Denny, too, with Jeremy Grant. You got a lot of people on this team, especially Shaedon Sharpe, man. I'm just reading this roster, and I don't mind this team at all. Robert Williams, when healthy, is also a guy that's very nice. Like, I don't think, if I look here, they got one guy over the age of 30, and that's literally it. Like, Jeremy Grant is the only guy that's 30, and everybody else is young. So it's a super young team, and, maybe they'll probably have to trade a couple of pieces away, at the trade deadline because they're a little stacked, like in the same position. To be honest, that's just my opinion, though. But y'all could definitely make something shake. And, having the last pick, shout out to Synthetic Sports. They're big Blazers fans, and maybe you could get Cooper Flagg. I mean, that's really what we have to talk about here. Getting a good draft pick, and I know the season hasn't started, and I would always wish for a team to be able to do good, but it's just not in the cards, in my opinion. But moving on to our next team at number 25, a team that always is good at the beginning of the regular season, but then always falls off a little bit, and that would be the Utah Jazz. Keeping Lauri Markkanen, and really, in my opinion, having a lot of good pieces. I'm trying to debate whether I need to stick with the notepad or be able to just stay on the computer, because I think the computer I'm able to like move around a lot better and quicker. I'm just trying to be able to get these rosters up. But, Jordan Clarkson, I like Taylor Hendricks. I'm going to be honest with you. Colin Sexton, Keontae George, and then you got John Collins, who I like a lot. I think he's going to be able to do a lot better this year. But then you also got Kyle that you drafted this year, and then you got Lauri Markkanen, and they got Walker Kessler. I mean, these are good players, but I just don't think, again, with the West, I'm not going to try to say it too much, but they're just really stacked. Like, it's just a really good team. They finished at the 12th seed, and did they get better? I mean, they could get better with continuity, players just evolving and getting better over time. But, I mean, there are 10 win difference between the Rockets and the Jazz, and I think the Rockets are getting better. The Grizzlies are going to get better, and the Spurs are going to get better. So, unfortunately, I got them finishing around the 14th seed. Now, I hope these age well. We're definitely going to be coming back near mid-season to see how all these went. But at number 24, a team that we really don't have to spend too much time on, but the Toronto Raptors. Now, the Raptors will for sure, they should not be worse than the 12th seed. They could push play-in because, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Pistons, and the Nets should be worse than the Hawks. Depending on the Hawks do, we're going to get to them in a little bit. But I really like this Raptors roster. They got good pieces, but again, every team does. It's just they don't really, I don't know. You got Scotty Barnes, you got Quickly, RJ Barrett, who was playing his ass off in the Olympics. I respect it so much. Like, this is some guy that I think is either going to stay on this team, but wherever he goes, or even being here, he's definitely going to be able to bring a lot of value. I think that's one of the most important things. And, you got Bruce Brown, too, Jacob Podol. I like what this team will be able to do, kind of like a middle-aged team, but they have a ton of young pieces. They picked up Jacoby Walter in the draft. This is just going to be an interesting team, at least. This is all I can really say. But this year really isn't going to be their year. But Scotty Barnes, let's get that all-star appearance. Let's go ahead and just try to maybe all-NBA team. Like, you're really nice. You're really nice. I'm wishing the best for him. He dealt with a little bit of injuries last season, but I mean, this guy is a star and one of my favorite players because, one, he's really good off in the court, and, he's funny as hell off the court. Let me know in the comments, too, if you think I'm moving too fast. Like, I don't want to go through this list too quick, but I also don't want to have a lot of, dead space. Something I'm really trying to adjust to is, being human, while in front of a camera. Because, being able to talk about other things, but without having another person. A big inspiration that I have is Through the Wire, or known as Numbers on the Board now. And I watch them all the time. And I look at them, and what they have is just one of the most beautiful things ever. Not everybody really even knows ball that well up there. Pierre, Kenny, of course, know ball very well, but, we don't really, I don't know. D Mills, we don't know if he really knows ball like that, but he brings great conversation, and he does know enough ball, and they're just super entertaining. I got to give a shout out to them. That's why I'm really doing this list, because I really couldn't find a thing to talk about, but I know I can make a banger list, so that's why we're here today. Moving on to number 23, we got the Atlanta Hawks. Now, unfortunately for the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young's going to go absolutely crazy this year. But unfortunately, the team kind of sucks, and you had the number one pick. And, I mean, I'm not going to say he's a role player because, of course, he could break out and be a superstar. But Zachary Richardson, I really can't say his name still. It's been a couple months now. But he's just, I don't know. I'm not really impressed. I've watched him play, but, that's kind of the whole rap with this whole draft. But, Dyson Daniels, DeAndre Hunter, you got Bojan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, Larry Nance Jr. I mean, there's some guys on this team that make you smile. I think this team will be fun because Trae Young, obviously, I think Trae Young might average 35 this year. The dude's going to be taking shots from anywhere, everywhere, anytime, any day. It's just what's going to be happening. But, I mean, what are you supposed to do here, really? I mean, I don't. You look at this roster, and then you look at the standings. It's just going to be hard for them. Play-in is definitely possible, though. Playoffs, I would doubt it, but, crazier things have happened. But now, moving on to our number 22 spot, a team that I'm slowly falling in love with. It might be biased because I'm such a big Kenny Beecham fan, but the Chicago Bulls. Now, a lot of people probably think this might be a little too high, but the roster that they have is Lonzo Ball coming back. I pray that he's going to be healthy. He's went through so much over these last couple of years, and I'm really hoping for his sake. Let us get at least 40 games. Let us get maybe 50 games, because seeing him on the court, even if they're losing, it just brings a certain amount of joy just to the soul. And then, of course, you got Kobe White, 24 years old. He's going into year 6. Been taking pretty good jumps. Last year, he was looking great. He was looking real good. Josh Giddey, I mean, he's going into year four. He's still got plenty of time. He's only 21 years old. I think people, the big problem with today's NBA is we're giving up on guys too quick. Same with really with the NFL. Josh Giddey still has time, and I think he's going to prove that this year. And then we go ahead and look. You got Javon Carter. I don't know why I said his name. It's not really an important piece, but Zach LaVine. I'm anticipating he'll get traded at some point. Some team's going to get him, but for right now, he'll probably be staying towards maybe like February. He's still Zach LaVine. I know he's not the most efficient. I know he's on a bad contract, but he's still Zach LaVine. And then you got Nikola Vucevic, who's still Nikola Vucevic. I'm not saying he's great, but he's still he's still a good player. And then you got Audasumu averaging 10 points per game, a guy that I actually enjoy watching a lot. One of my favorite players in the league, just a fan favorite for me. And then, of course, Patrick Williams and shout out Kenny Lofton Jr. But, I mean, you picked up Jalen Smith too, but we're not going to go through everybody today. But unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be a super great year for y'all. But if we go look at the standings real quick, I could see y'all being the 8th seed, maybe. That would be the peak, though. I would say probably more towards the 10th seed. Or you might just be exactly where you were at last year, to be honest. I would say 9th. It's either going to be 9th or 10th, depending on really how the Hawks do. Now, moving on to another very young, intriguing team that I'm a huge fan of is going to be the Houston Rockets. Now, they have one of the best young cores, and they went on a absolutely great run towards the end of last season, and that's what's really given me this hope. They got so many pieces. If we just look over here, we got Amen Thompson, we got Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Cam Whitmore, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., Steven Adams. When he's healthy, he's still a very valuable role player. And then you got Tari Eason, and then you have, Alfred Sengun. You got Jeff Green, 38 years old. I don't know what he's going to do, but a veteran presence is always really good. Just a lot of young, intriguing guys on this team. Now, I think it won't be this year, but they're going to make the playoffs within these next 2 years. I'd almost guarantee it, because one of these guys are going to have to drop. The West is getting too stacked. I mean, things are going to have to balance out at some point. There's no way, because if you look at these teams, and then, of course, we're going to talk about the Grizzlies and Spurs here in a little bit, they're really all getting so much better. There's only 2 teams that are really, quote, tanking or getting worse. And, I love to see it. I love the competition. It seems like the league's talent pool is just getting better by the day. But moving on to our next team, we're going to go ahead and go with the Miami Heat. At 20, it's a little tough to be honest. This is a team during the regular season that it doesn't really get me going. But they are in the East, so everybody in the East is a little bit lower until we get towards the top half. They'll make the play-in, but I don't think they'll be that 6th seed. But the team that they have is still very good, You got Terry Rozier, Jimmy Butler, of course, Jaime Jaquez, you got Bam, Tyler Hero. This team is good. It's a really good team, but it's just they're missing something. Kind of like when they were all looking to get Dame. Where's Dame? Dame's coming. They're just missing a couple of not all-star people, like a Derek White. But I feel like every team's missing a Derek White. Who really has a Derek White on their team besides the Celtics? But a lot of good guys like that. They have a very talented team, though. A lot of good veteran presence, too. I'm wishing the best for this team. I really am. I think, but if I had to take a guess, I'd probably stick with the 8th seed, to be honest, because I don't think they'll beat the Pacers or the Sixers or the Magic, the Cavs, Bucks, Knicks, or Celtics. Maybe the Pacers. I can see the Pacers having a little bit of regression, so we might get up to the 7th seed, which would be good for them. So you got them 2 play-in games, of course. But moving on to our next team, let me make sure I got this list right up here. We have the San Antonio Spurs at 19. Now, this is going to be a big jump year, in my opinion. I don't want to be too bold and say that they're going to be a playoff team, but if it happens, I give it a 15% chance, truthfully, 15% chance. But you got Victor Wembanyama, of course, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, who I think is going to be really good. I think he's getting slept on a little bit. And then you got Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Shohan, Michael Flynn. He might drop another 50 piece here and there. We really don't know. But then, of course, you got Trey Jones, too. And then you got a bunch of young guys on this team that I think are going to get plenty of playing time. I don't know if I said Devin Vassell already, but I'm a big fan of him, too, with Zach Collins, of course. And then really Malik Barnham. I don't know exactly how to say his name, but I've watched him a good bit this year. Just something to build off of. A lot of these dudes are born in the 2010. I'm '06, baby, bro. Like, I'm about to be older than some NBA rookies. Give me a few years. Like, that's nuts. Like, that's really crazy to me. That's insane. Wemby, when was Wemby born? January 4th, 2004, bro. What? And he's 7'7", bro, in the NBA. What am I? We gotta get this. We gotta blow up one day. We gonna get there though. But moving on to the next team, we got the Golden State Warriors at 18. I'm sorry, Steph. It's just not gonna be a good year, bro. Like, it's just not. I mean, you look at the West again. I've said it multiple times this video. What do you got? You're not going to beat the Kings. You're not going to beat the Lakers, Pelicans, Suns, of course, and anyone above that. And the Rockets are coming for your neck. The Grizzlies are coming for your neck. And the Spurs are coming for your neck. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to fight. And then, you still might not make the playoffs. But I really hope Steph does make the playoffs. Or if they do lose, that he goes somewhere else. Because, I mean, you got Kyle Anderson. You got Slow-Mo. Then you got Jonathan Kuminga. Gary Payton comes back. And then, of course, Steph Curry, Kevon Looney, Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton. I mean, it's just like, I'm sorry. I wish I could be more, like, enthusiastic. Trace Jackson Davis, though, I'm a big-ass fan of. Big fan. That dude was balling. Like, he is going to be a great role player, if not better than a role player, here in the near future. But this year, it's going to be a hard time. Just look away, Warriors. It's okay. Oh, of course, pods, too. AirPods. My bad. Let me go back to that. AirPods is literally my twin. That's why I've had so many people come in here and tell me I look like him. I can't believe I forgot it. My fault. But, of course, he's going to be moving along. And then, of course, you got the come bucket. It's just hard. It's going to be hard for this team to be able to do anything. Not getting Lauri Markkanen, striking out on everybody, really, like the Lakers did. I know continuity is a good thing, which is something we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But it's tough. It's tough to be able to make the playoffs with this team. But going on to our next team, we're going to be moving on to the Los Angeles Clippers. Big boats up in here. Again, Kawhi Leonard, I don't think he's going to be very healthy. They were the 4 seed, 51 wins last year, 31 losses. But you lose PG. Kawhi hasn't been doing too great, and it's unfortunate. James Harden wasn't terrible. You got a lot of signings. You got Bo Highland, you got Mo Bamba, you got Kofi, you got Dunn. But when I look at it, Terrence Mann, the more I look at it, Kai Jones, you're going to need these guys that you're signing to be able to bring a lot. Kevin Porter, Derrick Jones Jr. I just don't think that this is going to be a big building year. You still got Nicholas Batum, Norman Powell, like a lot of very good guys, but not great guys. And what if Kawhi Leonard goes down? Are we going back to the Rockets? James Harden's not going to be able to average 28, and then we're going to just – it's a very intriguing team. I could definitely see people taking big leaps, taking big steps, but it's just hard because with Kawhi Leonard over these last couple of years really just not being able to stay on the court, it's an unfortunate thing. It really just is. And I've said unfortunate a lot because I just want to see my guys healthy. That's all I really want to see. Not being able to play much at all, like not at all last year, really. It's heartbreaking. It truthfully is. But that's all I really got to say about them. I'm going to keep the mood positive. It should be good because I want to just see them in the playoffs. Just think about what they should have been able to beat the Nuggets in the bubble. I would have loved Lakers Clippers conference finals. That would have made if the Lakers would have beat them still. That would have made the Lakers bubble ring talk just go out the window. But of course, they end up beating the shit out of the Nuggets. Moving on to the next team, though, we got my least favorite team on this list because the fan base has been glazing me like crazy. We got the Sacramento Kings. This is a team where I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, it's a hard choice to put them this low because I have a lot of people telling me how great they're going to be. But I don't see great. The Lakers bringing back everybody, not adding a piece, but they'll be still at least 40, like 5-win team. The Pelicans will be better. The Suns, we'll talk about them in a little bit. They're more of a questionable team, but I think they'll still be really good coming back year two. The Mavs, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Nuggets, even the Clippers, and the OKC Thunder. Like, it's hard to just say that this team's going to do really good. But, when you look at the roster, I mean, Malik Monk, you got Jalen McDaniels, De'Aaron Fox. You have a lot of guys on this team with DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, Murray. You know the big names. Of course, Alex Len, too. I'm not hating. I promise you I'm not hating because I try to be not biased at all or be very non-biased. But it's hard for me to look at this roster and be like, first round win, second round no. Like, you'll be a first round exit. Now, I'm sorry, Kings fans. This is a little personal piece now. You will be a first round exit. And it won't be good. You might miss the playoffs too. You better hope you stay healthy. And you better hope DeMar DeRozan is really your answer. Because if not, it's downhill. And even if he is healthy, it's going to be tough sailing. So just know, when I'm here and when y'all lose and y'all click this video, just expect me to do the most. But I'm going to stay humble right now. Go Kings fans, go DeMar. I like DeMar. But it's rough out there. But moving on to our next team, we have the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are quite interesting team. I'm expecting a little bit of regression, but the way Tyrese Halliburton played at the beginning of the year, he was playing out of his mind. He went from underrated and then went right back to overrated because in the second half of the season, he was like, what was happening? I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm a big fan of what this Pacers team is able to do. There's a lot of great, sneaky athletic, TJ McConnell, sneaky athletic players. I don't know what we're going to be doing with Benedict Mathurin, but he's only 22, so he better stay around. Obi Toppin, Andrew Nembhard, now that's the guy I'm looking at, and he's a bucket. He is a bucket. He's going to be the biggest piece for this team this year, outside of Tyrese Halliburton and probably Miles Turner. Miles Turner doesn't get a lot of respect either, but there's so many guys, Aaron Nesmith, that are just on this team. Pascal Siakam, of course. Even Doug McDermott. I don't know, like Doug McDermott, I have his 2014 Bulls rookie card. I don't know why I brought him up, to be honest, but I'm liking what this team has, but I'll find it very hard for them to be able to repeat what they were able to do last year, even though it was quite impressive. It really was. But now moving on to our next team, let me make sure I got this list right. I think we're going into number 15 right now, and that is going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. Let me count these real quick just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, no, 14. Moving on to number 14, we have the Los Angeles Lakers bringing back everybody. I mean, really, we're bringing back the whole team, adding Connect 4, new head coach, new energy in the locker room. It's going to be better. And I'm not saying that they're going to be going all the way, but they were 6th in points per game, 18th in rebounds, and 5th in assists. They were a very good team in the second half. They started turning things up a lot. Losing these close games, though, is something that worries me because you'll have leads and then you'll blow leads. And, sometimes throughout the year, you just look really, 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 really bad. Like, you look like the Pistons type bad. And Anthony Davis healthy last year, but will he be able to duplicate that? I don't know. We don't know. And that's the only thing that really concerns me. Bron's getting old. But I don't really have much to say about it. You hear enough about the Lakers. Bronny James, Max Christie, Austin Reeves, Rui, Christian Wood, but they're not going to be doing much. Like, unless you're really getting, again, like a Derek White, you need another piece. You just need somebody else, another glue guy that you can pick up that's going to be able to bring that energy because right now, just it has first round exit written all over it, too. Now, I'm a LeBron fan, you know? If he won a ring this year, that would literally be the craziest shit ever. Like, that would be in this competition, too. I think he would literally become almost undisputed GOAT, being able to win in this environment with the NBA, how it's looking right now. And, you know, moving on to the next team, I don't want to spend too much time on the Lakers, so we're just going to keep it going. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not much to say here. They've really been almost the exact same over the last basically 3 years. Them and the Magic, two teams that I think are really going to be going, like, probably in the playoffs again, in my opinion. Even though probably unlikely, but I'd say it's going to happen. But Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Karis LeVert, Max Strus still, of course Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen. You got a lot of guys on this team that I'm very impressed with what they've been able to do. But again, it has first round exit or second round sweep like written all over it. I just don't see. The East is so top heavy. If you're gonna be in the playoffs, you got to be a top four seed because if you're a 5, 6, 7, 8, it's just going to be difficult to take down the top dogs. It's very top heavy, but I'm wishing them the best. I really do. I'm hoping they're good for their sake. Of course, LeBron played there too, but 20th in points per game. They weren't great in rebounding, but their assist numbers were good. It's just we'll see how it goes. But bringing back basically everybody, they should be able to build off of that. But now, 30 minutes in right now, I think we're making pretty good time. Moving on to the Memphis Grizzlies at number 12. Grizzlies got everything that they could ever want. You lost so many players last year, which was really just Ja Morant, but you had a ton of other injuries. And, you're coming back. You're looking fully healthy. You're looking like a loaded gun just ready to absolutely go crazy. That's a good Ja Morant reference right there. You got Zach Edey coming in, going to be a good rebounder, going to play good, regardless of what y'all think. And then, of course, you got Scottie Pippen Jr., you got Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark. Of course, you got Desmond Baines. Derrick Rose is a great veteran presence, great guy. Of course, Jay Huff, because I'm Jay. Jay Huff, always rooting for him. I don't think he'll be playing much, but big man, 7'1". G.G. Jackson, Marcus Smart. The team looks good. Like, really on paper, looking at this team on paper with everybody, especially Luke Kennard too. And I really like the Santi Adalum. I don't know how to say his name, to be real with you, but I think he's also somebody that can bring a lot to this team. It's just, you got pieces everywhere. You got young stars just waiting to just blossom, and I feel like this is going to be their year, especially with Ja Morant. People forget Ja Morant, when he came back for those 2 games, boy, he was special. Boy, he was special. And if we get that for the whole season, long as he doesn't like break his wrist or break a leg to jumping so damn much, it's going to be super fun to watch. And he's just going to keep evolving and keep developing. So, moving on to our next team, we got, this is more of a controversial one, kind of. We got the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns basically coming back and doing a repeat of what they were doing last year. Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. You added, it's just a very shallow team. When I look at them and I look at the roster, I'm like, are they really going to be able to take the next step to be able to get past the first round? Because you get swept, right? And, there's a difference between getting swept and getting swept. Like, y'all weren't like the Lakers versus the Nuggets when, you had leads most of the game and, you lose a couple games by 1, lose by 3, 5, whatever. Y'all were getting smoked. Like, absolutely smoked. Like, it was bad. And if we go through everybody, let's go through everybody on this roster. Okay, never mind. That's actually too many people. But, you got Royce O'Neal, okay. You got Thaddeus Young, okay, Saban Lee, Mason Plumlee. Of course, you got Kevin Durant, but Ty Washington, Monte Morris, Jufus Nurkic, Bobo, Damon Lee, Tyus Jones. I think Tyus Jones is going to be pretty solid. Grayson Allen will be pretty solid. But besides that, Josh Okogie, what are we feeling here? What are we feeling? Isaiah Thomas apparently on the roster right now too. Shout out Isaiah Thomas, but that's a team where I look at them and I don't know how I feel. I'm not feeling super confident. it's going to be rough, but just stick through it. Just keep going. If y'all get there, maybe you can gel. Maybe you can get another piece. But you add one or two more just mediocre, like ish players, maybe above average. You could still make a good run. You could definitely still make a good run. But now, that leads us to getting close to our top 10, or that closes out the top, the bottom 20. Moving on to our top 10, we have the Orlando fucking Magic. This is a team that I'm expecting to be able to make a deep run this year, at least get past the first round. Paolo Banchero is nice, bro. Like, I was watching his highlights earlier, bro. He's so nice. Adding KCP to that roster, too, and having a lot of young guys that are just dogs. All of them are dogs. Cole Anthony, dog. Wendell Carter, dog. Franz Wagner, a little bit of a choker, but still a dog. And then you got his brother, of course, on the team. That's great. Gary Harris, KCP, Jalen Suggs, dog. Paolo Banchero, dog. Jonathan Isaac, if he's healthy, oh my God, he's been looking good. He could be a big piece for this team. And then, of course, Anthony Black. And they're all super young, so this isn't like we got 1 or 2 years and, we got to blow it up again. This team is super young. KCP is the oldest guy at 31 on this roster. Or no, sorry. Corey Joseph is the oldest guy at 33. He went to Texas. Shout out Texas. But that's they're gonna be dogs. That's really all I can say. I can't go too long on it. You want me to say they're gonna be bad? No, I don't see any world unless Paolo and KCP and Jalen Suggs gets hurt that this team isn't. Ooh, top 4 seed. Top 4. They'll probably be the 5th seed again, and the Cavs will probably just flip flop with the Sixers, in my opinion. Because that top 4 is that top 4. No one's touching them. Nobody's touching them. But I'm calling it right now. Wouldn't it be funny as hell if the Magic and Sixers matched up in the first round and the Sixers lost? That's all I'm going to say. I think it would be quite funny. But moving on to number 9, we got the Dallas Mavericks. Yes, they just won the Super Bowl. But yes, every single team in front of them is much better. And does signing Klay Thompson really make you that much better? In my opinion, good shooter, always a good thing. But he's old, man. Like, he's really just old. Like, I don't know how to break it to him. I think they're going to be a very talented team. I think they easily get past the first round. They're going to be a top seed, They'll probably be 4th in the West, 5th in the West again, maybe. 50 wins, 32 losses last year. Great with the points per game, decent average rebounding, average assists per game. But, it's a team where you look at them, and they got a lot of young pieces, of course, again. I think most of the NBA, everyone's really young, to be real with you. But Kyrie, you picked up Najee Marshall, who I think is a great pickup. Great pickup, in my opinion. But, this is just another one of those times where you just have to look at the top, and the top's the top. It's going to be hard to break through that again. And I'll give them credit. They were doing it last year, and they were really, really impressive too. That's all I can really say about it. But moving on to the number 8 spot, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. Old as hell is the 3 words that I have for them. I think I have so much faith in this team healthy. Like, they would have easily beat the Pacers, and they probably would have made a run to at least the conference finals, if not go all the way to the finals. But with Giannis being hurt basically back-to-back years now, it's really hard for me to look at him with Dame being 34. Giannis is getting older by the minute. It's just where I look at he's 29. Like, he's getting older. He's not going to play till he's 40. He doesn't got it like Bron. And I got faith, but your starting center, Brook Lopez, he's 36. 36. It's crazy to think that LeBron's still playing at 40. Like, it really is nuts. No glazing. But Dame's 34, bro. Like, you got good pieces around him. Like, decent pieces at least. But it's just something where you look at it and, okay. Chris Middleton, he's 33. He's old as could be. Oh, all right. It's bad looks. It really is bad looks. But I'm wishing the best for him. I really am. But now, going on to our next spot. Here's where it gets serious. we got the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, are a team where I look at them and I mean they're really good. They're really good, but they've lost quite a few pieces. I cannot lie. Now, do I think Christian Brown's gonna be able to do good? By the way, Christian Brown, he didn't give up his jersey number, which is absolutely fine. It's fine. He was number 0. He won a ring when he was a good contributor too. He's been there. Russ ain't gonna be there. Christian Brown's gonna be there for the long haul. Westbrook's gonna be in maybe a year, maybe 2 years, and then he's gonna be either going to retire or he's gonna be bounced onto another team. Because in 2 years from now, he's gonna be 37 years old. 37. He's about to be 36 this year. He's gonna be old as could be. Now, I'm wishing the best for him, and I think Westbrook's really going to be able to be a good contributor this year, but I just saw way too much hate about them being like, oh my gosh, why did they do that? Why didn't Christian Brown just give up his number? He shouldn't ever really need to give up his number. That's all I wanted to say about that. They got Jalen Williams. They got a lot of good players on this team. Of course, Nikola Jokic. But, I mean, the young guys is all I'm really worried about. Peyton Watson. These are the guys where you have to look at it and be like, are they going to be able to take that next step? Julian Strawworth, because that's what you need. That's what we're banking on here. Because if they can't take the next step, the Nuggets are just going to be stuck with, I don't know. Because they're still super talented. They went to 7 with a team that went to 7 with another team. So it's like we got to still have faith in them. But making it all the way to the finals or conference finals, I would be a little surprised. I think second round is going to be my prediction. And if I had to give them a seeding prediction, which I should have been probably doing for all these teams, but I'll probably, we'll do that at the end of the video. But I'd probably have to give them the third seed. Which is still really good. So I'm not trying to bring anybody down here. But next up, we have the Philadelphia 76ers picking up Jared McCain, getting Paul George. Tyrese Maxey taking another big step this year is going to be crazy. Joel Embiid, revenge tour. What isn't there to like about this team? Now, I mean, they're going to be really good. And, I mean, even Adam Bona, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but I watched a lot of his summer league, and he impressed me tremendously also. And then, of course, you got Kelly Oubre, who was a very big piece. Caleb Martin, Eric Gordon. They picked up some pieces. You got Kyle Lowry still, Reggie Jackson. The team's nice. The team is nice. Andre Drummond is going to be a dog this year. That's going to be a really good team, y'all. They're going to be good. I've been a big Sixers hater because the whole trust the process thing I really thought was just super corny, but they're really good, bro. I don't think that they're going to just be a first-round exit this year, unless they're hurt, which, of course, you get a great excuse if you are. But, you get the excuse. Not a great excuse. It's never good. You never want to be hurt. But the team is going to be really good, and I think they're going to mesh a lot better than what people think. But that leaves us to our big 4. This is the big 4 where I look at, and these are the top 2 in the West and the top 2 in the East. And this is where I'm going to debate a little bit and try to be devil's advocate with myself. At number 4, we got the New York Knicks. At number 3, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. At number 2, we have OKC. And at number 1 is a team that I'm not going to move a lot, but we have the Boston Celtics. And now here is where it starts. Can the Knicks beat the Celtics? Can the Timberwolves beat OKC? Can they beat OKC? That's all I got to know. That's all I'm wondering. Because the Knicks, they're going to the conference finals. Unless they're injured, with this team, how they look, and adding that new piece, that new shiny car, that big new toy, the celebrations are going to be crazy. The atmosphere is going to be nuts. The expectations are at an all-time high. Of course, the Timberwolves bringing everybody back, basically, and going into the next year. The team being absolutely electric. And then OKC. You added Hardenstein and Alex Caruso to one of the most stacked teams. Let me get rid of the pad. We don't even need the notes anymore. I mean, this is just straight business right now. What do you think? That's what I want to know. Who do you think's coming out the West and the East? I want to make my picks right now on the spot. I want to make my picks on the spot. Okay, if I had to take a guess, I'm gonna rock with the Knicks this year, man. I'm really gonna rock with the Knicks. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm rooting for the Knicks, but I think it's probably gonna be the Celtics. I give it Celtics, Knicks, Sixers as the teams making it out, but and then the Bucks, of course. I don't want to disrespect the Bucks because I love Giannis, but it's just hard with an old team like that to stay healthy. But I'm rooting for the Knicks. That's my pick to make it out the East, and because I really don't want the Celtics to repeat. I really don't want them to repeat. I don't hate on teams too much, but Boston fans, Jason Tatum fans, just odd. Like, I've gotten over Jason Tatum being corny. I don't care. Like, now, he did lack a little bit in those finals, but, Jason Tatum is a great player. Jaylen Brown's a great player. They have a great team, but I really don't need Boston winning back-to-back again. I am a Lakers fan, too. Big LeBron guy. But the Timberwolves, Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Rudy Gobert, of course. I mean, I can name everybody on this roster. It's just like, it's going to be really, 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 really tough, in my opinion. So let's go ahead. You got my top 30 right there. Of course, that's the whole NBA. Perfect ranking, in my opinion. I'm going to save this. I got everything on a file right now. And, I'm going to save it, and we're going to come back and look at it in a few months. But let's look at the standings. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to give y'all a quick rundown, and I think we're going to go ahead and hop out of here for the episode. We got, number one, we're going to go with the Celtics, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Magic, no. Let me see. Let me actually pull this up. I want to be able to do this with y'all. Come over here. Let me just move this over here. This is where we can talk for a little bit. I think I've done enough yapping for the day. Where we got this over here? We'll come in right here. We got the Celtics, Knicks. Maybe I should do it more like this. I don't know. I like being able to have the background, though, but I feel like I should have, like, a little monitor, like, down here somewhere in the bottom left corner. But we got the Celtics, the Knicks, the Magic, Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, Orlando Magic, Indiana Pacers, Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, Toronto Raptors, Charlotte Hornets, Pistons, Wizards, Nets. Boom, baby. Boom, baby. That's perfect. Now we can roll through this one over here. We got number 1 seed. We got the Timberwolves, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Mavs, the Pelicans, the Lakers, the Kings, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, and either the Spurs, Warriors, or Suns. There's so many teams are going to miss out this year. I can't do the West. We'll have to do predicting the standings next episode. That might be next episode because, golly, that's rough. That's a tough one right there. I can't even lie to you. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and go back to the full screen. I think I got it over here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for taking this journey with me. This is the longest that I've ever really talked straight about basketball. 48 minutes. We did every single team. I didn't really talk much about like my life or anything anything that's happened. But make sure that you do leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be streaming on Twitch. We're going to be streaming on YouTube. And we're going to be doing 2K, Madden rebuilds, talking about real life, talking about everything. We're going to get better as we go. So, start here. Join me now. I don't really got to say anything else. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. Let me know who you think that your NBA champions for the year are going to be. Go ahead and call it now. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.